Welcome to the Pixelberry Choices podcast, and today we're going to be talking about Crimes of Passion book, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, which was released this Wednesday. And I'm glad they released two chapters instead of one, like in Wake the Dead. So that's pretty good, and awesome chapters they were. I mean, at this point, I know you cannot compare between Wake the Dead and Crimes of Passion, but how Crimes of Passion went, how it started off, banger. I mean, from the very first moment I started reading it, it was amazing. If you guys have read and if you guys are a sucker for crime thrillers and all those detective movie TV shows, then this is exactly that. And here you get to play the main character, the lead role, so that's pretty amazing. We're also going to talk about, either in this video or in a separate video, about the love interest and something unique about the trope here, or the relationship between the love interest and main character, which is not often seen in most books, specifically single love interest choices books. So let's get started. We're going to talk about Cross Your Heart, Chapter 1. So, what happens? We see there is this girl, Sonja Dormer, and she was in this Callaway Museum, perhaps, and under the basement, and she's locked up, and we get to play as her, and then, she is handcuffed, and we get to just free ourselves, and in the process, we damage our hands, but we run away from that person who's wearing a mask, like a beast mask, and then we run up the stairs and try to go to the museum, to the main entrance. We see there's a glass separating the guests from us, and the guests are too busy drinking and just enjoying themselves, so they can't really hear Sonja. So Sonja cries for help, the pain, but no one really listens to her, or nobody can listen to her because of all the noise in the glass. So finally, our attacker comes behind us and gets Sonja. That was the scene, the art scene for that. It was amazing. And then we see that Sonja is being dragged, by the attacker, and we're already stabbed. Sonja is stabbed, and she is, as a final try, she's gonna call someone. She knows nobody's gonna probably reach out at this moment, but she wants to leave a final clue for someone. And then it starts. A detective, you get to choose your character, name it. You can't really, change your last name. So here's an interesting theory, not a theory, but an interesting thing, that our main character's last name, which is not changeable, is Rose, and our love interest is Thorn. That's interesting. And if I'm not too wrong, also the last name of the main, as the love interest of Surrender, is also Thorn. It's interesting. Interesting things, interesting bits. So basically, what happens after that? We see that we're given the first case where we talk with our boss, so we get to see that the agency you're working for, the boss, and the usual faces. We'll see also Luke, our assistant, after we sort of jog up our skills, detective skills. So we need to spot down a guy who is cheating, so we need to, we will hear his descriptions, 50-year-old white male. So we'll be given some options, and we'll have to choose correctly, because we'll not get the picture. So we'll use our detective skills to spot him down. We'll get some pictures to send his wife that he's cheating on them. We'll go to a strip club, I think, and then we'll come back. We'll see our boss in the Genufsey agency, I think, the detective agency. We're a private investigator, PI, and then we'll see our assistant Luke, who can dig up any information. Like, he's like that hacker type of guy, ethical hacking, I think, like the expert on all those technical stuff. And then we'll be told that Sonja Dormer, her mom, so they are basically European from Dracovia, and they have come here for some art exhibition. So her daughter went missing, so we need to find her. We basically inquire that it hasn't been 24 hours, and that's why her mom can go to the police, but her mom thinks there's been something weird happening to her daughter for past couple of days or weeks in recent times. So we go to see in the museum, and we also see we can get details about Sonja Dormer and all those files. We'll get to collect them, and if we collect all of them, I think it's going to unlock a special scene at the end. And Luke will dig up all those things, and even before we tell what we need, he'll be sending all those things in our phone. So that was pretty amazing how Luke does that. But then we will get something, information, not information, but a clue. We'll get Sonja's phone, and we'll see the last person she was trying to dial is the literal prince or princess of Dracovia. Now here I'm going to talk about princess because that's who I chose, but it can go either way. It's a gender customizable love interest. So then we'll go to see her, like what this is all about. But Luke will also get information about that princess. So she's an exiled royal. Nobody knows why she was exiled. So we will give this information, and then we will need to tail down this princess. We'll go to their apartment, and definitely their luxury. They can buy whoever they want, wherever they want. So we'll go to their apartment, and we'll see it's messy and bloodstains and stuff. So we'll get our taser out because we don't know. There could be an assailant. If there is an assailant, we'll be ready for that. But then we see from the bathroom with a towel wrapped around them, our love interest Tristan comes out, and Tristan, there's an art scene, and that was an awesome art scene, by the way. I chose the Hispanic one, and the work they did, that was fabulous. I mean, I haven't seen this awesome art scene from Choices in a while. Like, this was really good, the details specifically, depending on who you chose. So then we have a misunderstanding. She thinks that we are some cop sent from excuse me, from Dracovia. So we're trying to capture her or him, Tristan. And then we have a little fight, and we definitely gain the upper hand. And then we move to the bedroom, and there's some dry flirting, if you want to call it. Then we stuff happens. We finally talk, and we say that we're not Dracovian cop. We're here to gather information because Sonja is missing. So both of them are from Dracovia, and Tristan says they know Sonja. The art, below this apartment, in the first floor of this apartment, I think, Sonja has got an art studio, which is Tristan's. So Tristan doesn't take any rent for that. It's for free because she's Tristan's friend, kind of. So Tristan wants to find Sonja. So then she will get dressed. Tristan will get dressed. She or he, they, and then we will see that in the first clue we can check out the art department, the art room for Sonja in a diamond scene, and we'll get some clues. So we'll go with Tristan, and we will see that throughout our interaction with Tristan, we'll get to have the options. Either we can be a little flirty. I mean, not flirty, but we can show interest to Tristan, or we can be like, hey, I'm on duty. I don't want to be anything but a professional. So that was a pretty interesting choice in a single love interest book. So this love interest, main character relationship and bonding, it's pretty special. I can feel here. So we basically, in this art room of Sonja, we discovered that Sonja had a specific type. Like all the paintings she had, happy type and really amazing. But there was one specific painting that was not like them. It was really dark, and there was some strange sign with arrows on them. And then we get out of there, and we have this information with us. But we also need to see what happened in the museum, in the Calloway Museum. So basically here, Tristan thinks that they should have helped Sonja because Sonja reached out to them at the time of need, but they were unable to help. And at this point, they want to go to the museum. And we said the museum was closed, and we just got access to the outside. But Tristan is pretty rich and has a lot of money. And how she got expelled, we try to get that information out while having some conversation while going to the art room of Sonja. But it really doesn't work out. She's not really ready to give out much information, Tristan. But Tristan says they would have access to the museum. They make a call, and boom, money speaks. So and we say that we are the PI and we will go to the scene and they can't come. But well, they are the one who got access or who gave us access. So we're gonna go there through them. So we accompany Tristan there and we see a curator guiding us, and then we immediately search this place and we go to this underground place. We go down and down and finally we reach the place, and then we see that Tristan is rushing this down the stairs to find out Sanja, because Tristan is really worried. Sanja was not really close, but Tristan thinks that they could have helped because Sanja reached out to them after all. But what we see, a horrifying, harrowing view. Sanja is hanging there and there's a hollow in her body and her heart is ripped out of her body. And then that's where I think chapter 1 ends. Chapter 2 starts off from where it was left off, and we have to see this horrifying scene. We have seen our fair shares of murders, but this one also, even like, it makes us sick from the stomach. And we see how Tristan was breaking down and was trying to find life inside Sanja, was trying to touch the body, but we speak some sense into Tristan that if Tristan now touches the body and something happens, then we're gonna get framed for this. So we see Tristan's breaking down. Then two police officers come in, and it feels like our main character had some relationship with them before. I mean, they had some acquaintance, and not a pretty acquaintance. That goes without even saying. So they tried to frame us, but then we can either let Tristan defend us or we can defend us. Tristan, our main character, ourselves, saying that this is gonna be a pretty lame excuse that we are the one they saw in the murder scene, so we're the one who killed the victim here, Sanja. So we can talk our way out of that trap, and we'll see the police officers are just as Tristan puts them, quote, some toxic sign of masculinity and who doesn't know how to do their who don't know how to do their job. But we see now Tristan is outside and pretty broken down. At first, when we saw Tristan, they seemed like don't have a care for what's out there in the world, and they're just really untouchable. But this incident seemed to shook them up from the inside, and they were drinking, and they offer us a drink, but we don't drink it because we say we're still on the job. And we inform our boss about the news that we have finally found Sanja, and there we see that Tristan telling us that we need to investigate more, we need to do more. So we first don't get along with this because our job as a PI was to find this person, Sanja, and that's where this ends. But Tristan wants to see that who killed Sanja. They won't rest until Sanja's murderer is found and put behind the bars, because Sanja reached out to Tristan, as I've been saying again and again. So that's where Tristan thinks the responsibility comes. And Tristan is really upset from the bottom of their heart. And then we find another colleague of ours. They don't work for the same company as us, or so we reach to them and she will tell us some information. So she's basically the forensic expert, so we can get to know some information about Sanja's death. So we will see that the heart was ripped out of her body, and all the blood sign, all the blood samples were of the victim, and a lot of questions like when the victim supposedly died, and after long time the heart was removed, and what could have any sign of struggle. So all these questions will be answered. At first, person, she wasn't really into telling all of these things because they're not supposed to say these informations, which are definitely confidential to anyone. But we pull this off because we think we helped them out. Sometimes we helped her out. So we get this information and we share this information with Tristan, and then Tristan wants to give us a lift to our office, and Tristan wants to talk to our boss. So we take Tristan to our office, and then we see Luke there. Our boss isn't in the view yet, but we'll get another diamond scene. So we'll get another document of Tristan, because Tristan is the, so to speak, exiled royal of Dracovia. So what happened? So Tristan seems really confident that Luke can dig up something that is not already known, or that is true, to be precise, because Tristan thinks that Luke is just some ordinary hacker or information collector who is going to collect information from some media and some biased sources. But Luke is smart enough, so you have to pick this diamond scene, and all these documents will give us a special scene at the end, I feel like, or some important clue, if not that. So we read some informations, and Tristan just laughs out at those. But then we read some pretty interesting information, and Luke was really excited about this. Get this? So at the end, we see the reason of being excited. So they were on some yacht or something, and someone got murdered. So I think someone from the high ranks, a countess, got murdered, and she took the blame. She or he. Tristan took the blame. So basically, Tristan tried to save someone, and they got exiled. So that's the story. But I still don't get like how they have all the money even after getting exiled. That's a part I would like to know more in details as we go on, as we get to know Tristan more. So that sort of that seemed to shook Tristan. That seemed really, because Tristan had this smile on their face, that unwavering confidence that we can't dig up anything that's not trivial. So we see that there's definitely something. Tristan doesn't reveal those things, but then we see Tristan talking with our boss, and the book actually begins in the right sense. Tristan pays our boss an amount, a hilarious amount. I mean, that's like ridiculously large amount of money, saying Tristan has seen us working firsthand, and Tristan knows we're intelligent, and Tristan wants to hire us to get to the bottom of this, to find the murderer of Sonja. So, that being said, it was definitely a shocker for our main character. Our main character doesn't think that it would happen, because our main character doesn't want to work with them, and a private investigator with a civilian, but the money wins at the end, and we're stuck with them. And I think I forgot to mention this, but before that, we also with Tristan, we investigate another suspect. So who was I forgot, but I forgot his name. But according to Tristan, Sonja hooked up with that person quite a few times. So we can go to meet with this person, and we'll see that person would try to get a flight and go away from the city. But we'll stop that. We'll have a conversation, because we'll say, so your detective scores will go up depending on some choices in this book. Just like the zombie score goes up in the Wake the Dead book. So I botched one. I made the wrong choice. So when that person says that, what Tristan's doing with this, I said she's one of the suspects. So that was like down, but then I made some good choices in terms of how to confront that guy. So he had some tan lines on his ring finger. So that means that he was married, but he still was having an affair, hooked up with Sonja, and he's probably connected with some black marketing in the art world, because we learned about some dealers from the museum. So we passively bring it up, and then he goes to make some calls, and in a diamond scene we can search the place up with Tristan, and we'll see some information about this guy, and a really ridiculous statue, like the piece, an art piece if you want to say so. And we don't have quite an idea what this is about, but later when he will come back, we'll have a conversation with him, and we'll say that Sonja is dead, and he would be really frustrated. So from his expressions, it felt like it definitely felt like it was genuine, and he really didn't know what happened, that Sanja is dead, but he's definitely hiding something, some information. So we try to, tell him that it would be for his benefit, that in his own benefit, that he tells us what he knows. So he doesn't tell much, but says that Sanja sort of ended things with him, but at the end half of the relationship, Sanja wasn't even coming. Like, Sanja got herself into something. Like, Sanja definitely didn't murder someone or something, but he got into something like a society or something. So this reminded me of the girl who got murdered in Laws of Attraction. This was kind of similar. So, she also got into something we heard there. But yeah, here the mystery is more intense. But just a connection I found out while reading it. So we then also get the mention of a ridiculously looking statue that Sanja brought to him for inspection and to see. But he tried to sell this, but he didn't get any money. And then Tristan shows it, and then he gets furious. But we finally get to keep it. This is also a clue, one of the gathered clues. So just like in Veil of Secrets, we had all those acquired clues. You also have the same thing. Then we leave from there with this information, and we tell him not to leave this city while the investigation is still ongoing. But then, after leaving our office with Tristan, and after the confirmation that Tristan is gonna work on this case with us, so basically Tristan hired us to solve this mystery. So we don't know what to feel, and we get kind of furious with Tristan. But Tristan then tells that something that's really touching, that Tristan is shaken up by this whole incident, and Tristan wants to do something good with his life and with everything they got. So that's pretty deep. It feels like, there was a mention that they're the playboy type. So they have definitely some, and we get this mention also in her document back in the office, that they had kind of a wild, dating life. So we can tease her or him. We can tease Tristan about that before. But that was pretty, like, we really get to see not so much inside out, about Tristan, but still it was something. And then Tristan will offer us that she's gonna walk us home. We're not gonna take. So she first offered that we take her car, but we will say that we're gonna just walk. So she will say, "Can I walk you home?" So if you choose this scene, this is gonna be a pretty special scene. So we're gonna just walk through the streets of New York, not street, like through the New York, the Times Square, and all these, amazing streets there. And then suddenly it would start raining, and the raining animation. I love the how choices do that. The raining animation is really special. It's really amazing. And then we will have a conversation with this exiled prince or princess of Dracovia, Tristan. We won't get to know much about them, but we will have in every, this is a pretty interesting thing I have not seen from a single love interest book, mainly that we don't have what it's called direct approach options yet, but what we have, like, we can show some interest in her with those options, or there's a second option that we're not showing any interest at all in them. That's a pretty interesting thing. And what I like about this scene, while we walk home, that Tristan would buy, because we're gonna be wet because it started pouring really heavily. She gives someone, and that was the Benji Sprite, someone ridiculously high amount of money to get one umbrella, and then we can say, we're gonna share together, or some other option. So I chose to share it together. And then we reach our apartment amid conversations, and she shakes our hand. Like, oh no, we basically extend our hand for a shake, but she takes it and kisses it and returns it, and then she walks back in the rain. And then the description was that we see Tristan, going down the street in the rain and getting disappeared. And then we look into, with a smile in our face, we look into a hand. So we stare at our hand that was kissed by Tristan. So I don't think like surrender and any affair. It's like you initially see someone and then like there's a physical attraction and then just immediately they wanna get you to the bedroom and stuff. But in this book there is something like it's really special. The relationship they're building. It's like the detective sense is 100% amazing, thrilling. But the relationship part, it's not an average choices relationship. In a single love interest book, first of all, you have the option whether you want to have something with them or you want to keep it neutral. And then there's another option. Even if you want to have something with them, there is a process. They're not directly approaching us like, hey. They actually give it time to build it up. Like there is amazing. I mean, one of the most genuine books with love interest and the main character relationship actually is looking like it's developing from scratches, and it's a really you know realistic to some sense, but that's how it would go. The other ones that it's like at least a big relief, I want to say, that a change of it was getting stale, it was getting you know it was getting really ununique about love interest and main character dynamics. So it's really improving here. And then we see the chapter ends. But before it ends, we see somewhere a person basically doing some kind of worship in that mask, and they are presenting that human heart and saying this is one of many more offerings that are going to come. So this is gonna get interesting. And remember the painting sign we had, like in the painting, in the dark painting of Sanjay, you had a arrow sign that was really peculiar. We had also that sign in, while we discovered Sanjay's body, and there were some candles lit up, like someone performed some kind of sick ritual, like some kind of weird ritual there, with the signs drawn there, and those candles, and it was like a weird ritual place, like with something happened. And then at the end of the chapter we see someone offering that heart to saying that it's gonna be one of many. So that was pretty interesting. I mean, this got way over 20 minutes, I think, almost touching 30, but it had just so much things in it and really amazing. I mean, I cannot describe enough. You want to talk about the plot, the detective plot, the murder mystery? It's solid. Laws of attraction, we had a murder mystery, but this just gives you like, it's just way more exciting, and it has like, wow, like the crimes of passion, like the name, like there's a crime but passion, like what goes under the criminal mind, like what is this cult or what is this society. Like, I think we're going to learn about that, and this is going to be really interesting. And also the love interest dynamic, single love interest book, but I think you actually have a choice or say in whether you're going to take things far with a love interest or not. And also, if you want to take it far, it has a genuine pace. We build it up from scratch. You like the love interest and main character dynamics. How we have the genuine scenes. Walking through the rain, the love interest walking us to our apartment. Through the rain and all these small interactions. Not like really lusty things, but just keeping our appearances, being professional, but still sharing the small moments, but very, very important moments, like the kiss on the hand. We, as a main character, looking, or staring at the hand, looking at the hand that was just kissed, and then, watching Tristan going down the street and then disappearing, and then I found that particular I have been missing this in all the smart choices been bringing out. Whether it's great, but the love interest department is not that well developed there. But here I think we're getting a genuine love interest main character trope here, and I think I've stated it more than couple of times, but that scene was amazing. The rain scene, and then the description how the love interest. We were watching the love interest go down the street and then disappearing, and then we were looking at our hand that was just kissed by the Tristan. It was amazing. I'm looking forward to what it brings in terms of what kind of you know development the main character in the love interest relationship is going to have while working together, what obstacle we're going to face, and where is this case going to lead us. What is the society? Who killed Sonja? And what are those more offerings in the store? And are you going to also explore why the princess got expelled? Does that have anything to do with this? Are they all connected? There are a lot of questions. It will be answered. Amazing book premiere. First impression, one of the best books I've read in the recent times. Wake the Dead, Crimes of Passion. I think Wednesdays and Thursdays are getting even better and better. Let me know in the comments your choices, your thoughts, your opinions. What did you think of the first two chapters? I'd love to hear from you, but I will see you the next video. But until then, I am gonna say peace out. Bye.